opponent may be thinking about using the Cunning Nightbonder to trade, but maybe not remembering that this has Menace. The Menace, very, very strong here, folks. Greetings, everyone. I am glad you are here, and I am glad to be here. We're back here playing some jank, this time in Standard. This deck I like to call Devoted to Zendikar. Very obviously, Black Devotion deck. This isn't surprising. You'll see some familiar faces. Ayara, First of Locthwain, Tymaret, Chosen from Death, and Grey Merchant of Asphodel. All cards very, very regularly showing up. Supported by Lurrus, which I wouldn't think is a surprise to anyone. But what's different? Why are we playing this Black Devotion deck instead of some deck we would have seen when first released with Theros Beyond Death? Well, this deck got some really interesting graveyard tools specifically with Agadeem's Awakening, Malakir Rebirth, and Nullpriest of Oblivion. Being able to bring back permanents, creatures specifically from the graveyard to the battlefield means that suddenly our early game aggressive plan can afford to be a little more aggressive. Obviously, notably, the Lurrus being able to bring back death-touching threats like Mire Triton and Foulmire Knight, pretty beneficial, as well as just recasting Nullpriest of Oblivion and Tymarets for hating out our opponent's stuff whenever necessary. The Nighthawk Scavengers, also good for reach. Being an evasive threat, allow us to scoot a little more damage. Seems pretty good in this archetype when we're already pinging with Ayaras and hopefully draining with Grey Merchant later on. But with all of these graveyard recursion threats, we also can kind of afford to run a few sacrifice outlets like Village Rites, of course, Ayara, and her less frequently used sacrifice another black creature, draw a card, and Erebos, believe it or not. Activating Erebos here, pretty good. We also have a fair amount of extra life running around between the Ayara pings, the Grey Merchant of Asphodel drains, and the lifelink from things like Nullpriest of Oblivion. And Nighthawk Scavenger, I'm sorry. We should have some extra life to be able to pay for drawing these cards with Erebos Bleak-Hearted. So, we'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to it. Let's take it out for a spin, shall we? All right, folks, we're up against AKU. Good luck, AKU. And yeah, I think this hand is fine. A touch awkward in that we have 2 drops and things, no 1 drops to make use of being on the play here, but we do get to land our the first creature. This one having Menace, it is unlikely our opponent is able to effectively block it this turn, though they may just kill it. That wouldn't be surprising. That said, getting a removal spell out of their hand also wouldn't be the end of the world. We would like our Nighthawk Scavenger to stick around. Opponent evaluating whether or not to use the removal spell. Oh boy, okay, Nullpriest of Oblivion. Looks like it may get a chance to swing. Our opponent is still representing removal. Opponent probably thinking, yeah, they'll wait to see if we present a better target. We choose not to. Let's just run out a Mire Triton here instead of the Nighthawk Scavenger. It's only going to be a 2/3 at this juncture, but maybe if we get our opponent to run out a sorcery speed removal spell or possibly a creature we can Bloodchief's Thirst next turn, we can grow it up a little bit, all the while giving our opponent the opportunity to maybe kill Mire Triton would have been not so bad either. Darn it. Clicked the wrong one there. Opponent going to get their free Scry 1, presumably. That is worth more than the 2 damage that they could chump. Ooh. Opponent goes top with the Scry. It could just be they're looking for lands, and that happened to be a land. It may not mean anything tremendously ominous, but... Ooh, Ayara. Oh boy, is our opponent also playing just actual Black Devotion? That would be wild indeed. Alright, fine. Ayara. of our own. And we will attack. I don't think the opponent's going to block here. They may, if they have an extra Ayara in hand or something. Wow, they do. Oh, they also may have a way of getting it back from the graveyard, I suppose. That would make sense as well. But we will find out. Opponent looking at the Ayara. Like they have a removal spell for it, they in fact do. Snap off Heartless Act. Oh boy, that's a good one. Skyclave Shade coming on down as a 3-1 and Mire Triton as a 2-1. Our opponent's on 5 cards, folks, and that's not great for us. Plenty of action over there. But as long as we start drawing some more mana, we do have a Lurrus to start casting things from our bin. Opponent trying to figure out if they just want to take the damage or not. Sure enough, they go ahead and do that thing. Yeah, I think we're just going to go ahead and play a Nighthawk Scavenger here. Our opponent's life total is low enough that making them have more removal at this point seems like a good thing. Also, if they have to waste their whole turn killing Nighthawk Scavenger, that means we just get to swing in for 5 more damage next turn, right? We will block here. Okay. Opponent does not give us that option. Well, let's just attack. Presumably our opponent has a removal spell. Probably Hagra Mauling. Oh, Murderous Rider? Oh, wow, that's... Alright. Opponent drops to 12. Blockers. Alright, opponent chooses not to block. We're just going to drain our opponent down to 6. And pass the turn. We would like to hit a land drop, but since we already have the 4 mana, I think it's more important to hold on to the potential removal spell here in Hagra Mauling. And pray for an untapped land off the top. No, darn it. We were really hoping she might survive so that we could Lurrus cast, or get an untapped land off the top. Cast our Lurrus, cast the 2-drop from the bin, and drain several times, you know? Alas, it was not to be. Alright, well. We're going to go ahead and go to combat. Our opponent may kill Skyclave Shade here, right? The lifelink is actually kind of annoying. They do kill the Skyclave Shade. Alright. So we're just going to go ahead and kick it. It's now a 5-3. Which is a threatening body indeed. Opponent on 3 cards in hand. But, again, we are sandbagging this Lurrus. Of course, for all we know, maybe they're sandbagging a Lurrus as well. Anything is possible over there. No, it looks like they might be going to the bin for Woe Strider. Indeed. That does appear to be the case. Woe Strider enters. Ayara triggers. Woe Strider creates a goat. Notably, Ayara cannot sacrifice the goat to draw a card. They can only scry with it because it says another black creature, right? And that's, you know, certainly notable. We're going to go ahead and Soul Shatter right now. See who our opponent sacrifices. Because neither of these are overly favorable options, no question about it. But if they sacrifice the Woe Strider, they can't trade with the Skyclave Shade, which is, you know, problematic. Yeah, sure. So now they do have the ability to chump the Skyclave Shade with the 0-1. But they forego the opportunity to scry, right? Opponent drops to 7. Yeah, we're just going to keep holding on here. Definitely have the pressure on. Our opponent is scrambling pretty hard. Only 2 cards left in bin. Woe Strider and Blacklands Paragon. It's going to be a minute before they can bring this back. At least a turn or 2. Which is good for us. The harder... Okay, yeah. No, this is just fine. This is just fine. Because this can't block, remember. Wow, opponent trying to get aggressive here. Fair enough. We're going to go ahead and Lurrus. Cast a Nullpriest of Oblivion from the bin. Because it has evasion in the form of Menace. This is lethal. Oh, well, all of them are individually lethal, right? And unless they can cast more than 1 spell... Okay, yeah. 1 more creature and combat isn't quite as simple, but this can't block, right? Oh, wow, okay. They remove another blocker in order to draw a card. I think that pretty much hands us the game. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think we still have them here. I do believe everything is fine. So we're just going to go ahead and run out a Hagra Mauling on the lifelinking creature. And now they can't block enough damage. GG, AKU. It's hilarious. I had never seen a Black Devotion deck since I've been playing in Standard since the new set. But it's kind of cool someone else had the same idea. Good game, opponent. Good game. Well, folks, here we are on the play again. Being forced to mulligan. That is really unfortunate. Really wish that were not the case. I think we're actually going to send back the Mal... Just a swamp, I guess. This is riskier, but we can play these out. Play out, let's say, a Nullpriest of Oblivion or a Tymaret. And if we don't draw into lands, we can Malakir Rebirth it, and then Village Rites sacrifice it. Thieves Guild Enforcer. Alright, fair enough. We mill over a Nullpriest. Fair enough. Not hugely surprising here, folks. Oh, okay, there's a land. That's a good one. Let's play a land and attack, see what happens. Opponent. Maintaining priority here. Alright, damage is dealt. I guess we're just going to go ahead and slam a Tymaret Chosen from death. We can pay for the Spell Pierce effect, or I'm sorry, okay, the Censor effect, but of course it's the Drown on the Lock, not the Jwari Disruption. 'Tis unfortunate, this is a very, very strong card for them. Tis unfortunate. Alright, well. The Nullpriest beating down. We're actually gaining life here. Long as they allow it, of course. Alright. Ayara? What say you, Grimcrack? Didn't say please. Alright, fair enough. That is unfortunate. We really would like to occasionally resolve spells, Grimcrack. I like to play Magic, as opposed to watch it. Our opponent's on Esper? Wow, I did not expect that. Grimcrack, still maintaining that priority. Very important to them to... Alright, Skyclave Shade. We're going to cast from the bin. Yes, please. It resolves. Fair enough. We pass the turn. I can't help but wonder if maybe our opponent's on some kind of Esper control shell. That would be wild indeed. All right, well, let's attack. Nullpriest of Oblivion, of course, having Menace. Okay, the opponent trades. Takes 2, we go up to 26. Well, we're going to go ahead, play our land, and cast Skyclave Shade. Yes, it's true, we are soft to, or they could potentially soft counter us here if we do it this way, but I think... Okay. It's, in general, better to get those counter spells out of their hand if that was going to be the path they took anyway. In fact, it was not a counterspell. It was a Brazen Borrower this time. Well, we're going to try and beat down again. This Nullpriest of Oblivion putting in work, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely, this menace has been huge. Our opponent was in a very, very awkward spot with the previous board state there, just the 1/1. And while it's not... Another didn't say please. Wow. All right. You know, they're not in serious danger yet. It is relevant that we're on 28, they're on 10, right? That does matter. All right, Nullpriest of Oblivion going to be heading towards combat again. What say you, opponent? Yep, sure enough, they take it. Let's Profane Insight. Try and draw a card. Oh, it's a land. Well, okay, then we're going to go ahead and make our land drop and cast Skyclave Shade. And we are just going to pass. We could advance the board with the Foulmire Knight. It's true. But I would rather leave up either Malakir Rebirth or Village Rites here, depending on what happens. If our opponent goes with, like, exile your stuff, we would rather Village Rites and sacrifice it. Or if they just... Oh, okay. That is not at all what we were expecting, folks. 3 damage coming through. Yeah. You got it. Well, let's... Hagra Mauling. Get in. Believe it or not, we're not going to make our land drop. I know how silly that sounds, but I think being able to get back Skyclave Shade post-board wipe, it could potentially be very important here. Temple of Silence, Scribe 1. And another Luminous Broodmoth. All right. I think that might be game, folks. I don't think they can counterspell us appropriately, and we have the Bloodchief's Thirst. So we attack. All right, good game, Grimcrack. I am not sure quite what our opponent was up to. Presumably some wild and crazy shenanigans, considering the Luminous Broodmoths and whatnot. But I definitely approve of folks trying to do something original. Good game, opponent, for sure. folks, here we are up against Ian. I mean, I guess we're going to keep this. I wouldn't say this is amazing, but Tymaret is typically pretty good against, like, rogues and stuff. It's possible we want another one on the list because of that. The only reason there's not more in this list... I assume this is mono red, folks, but... They left up burn spell mana, so I think we're just going to cast the Skyclave Shade because we can get it back later. It doesn't block, so we're not wasting, we're not wasting the turn. It does attack well. Oh, wow, they had another Spike Field Hazard. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. We really would have liked to keep that fella around for later on. But I think in general, our burn matchup should be pretty good, I think. Oh, darn it. Pitch over a Nullpriest, but less cool. We pitch over a Lurrus. We do have Agadeem's Awakenings and things to get him back, and of course there are 3 in the list, so it's not unreasonable to see more. Alright, well, let's get in, shall we? Yeah, I mean, I guess we're going to go with Erebos here. I'm expecting our opponent to have a board sweeper, right? Like Storm's Wrath or whatever. So, running out a Tymaret that's just going to die to that seems less enticing. Cinderclasm. Our opponent is very, very prepared for Lotus Cobras, folks. Very prepared. Alright, well, let's Tymaret. And believe it or not, we're not going to run out Blood Priest. We're just going to hang on here and Malakir Rebirth it, I think. Maybe it was better to go with the Nullpriest, though, in case they don't sweep. Being able to attack would have been very, very nice. To just gain the life back. Because eating up their graveyard, not super helpful here. Won't gain us any extra life. Brash Taunter. Oh my word. That is not... Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, everything's fine. Nope, everything is okay. So we're going to... Malakir Rebirth. Target that creature, sacrifice this one. We are going to pay the life. I think we're going to wait. Our opponent very obviously setting up for board sweepers there. You know, mass removals type spells. Storm's Wrath specifically, but potentially other things as well. We would traditionally really like to use the Malakir Rebirth on Grey Merchant when we have Erebos out, because we can sacrifice the Grey Merchant and then return right to the battlefield, but I think it was very important to get that Brash Taunter off the battlefield. Alright, well, let's just Grey Merchant. I guess we should have done this pre-combat because we could have attacked for 5. My initial plan was, I was thinking, well, we could kick a Nullpriest, but I think that's wrong. I think we want to, yeah, since we're very much expecting this to happen, we're going to kick a Nullpriest and bring back a, Lurrus, right? Opponent has 5 cards still. It's very, very likely they have, yeah, more removal spells. We are going to pay the life here. I think it's important to keep the cards flowing. All right, this is annoying. All right. Well, that's good. So let's... Bloodchief's Thirst it. We haven't seen a lot of targets. I don't expect there to be a lot of targets. We're going to save Soul Shatter for more Brash Taunters. We would like to hit a land drop or two so that we can Nullpriest into Lurrus and cast something else as well, right? Yep. All right, we're going to take more damage. Not thrilled about it, because we're definitely down to the area where we've got to stop paying life for cards. But we have also, you know, we are now well above our opponent on resources. Oh, that's a really good one, folks. Holy crud, that's a good one. Well, let's just Gray Merchant here, I think. Get a little bit of reach there. If our opponent goes to kill Gray Merchant, which is pretty likely, we can just Village Rites it. Yep. I think we will not pay the life. We have plenty of things to do, and we're drawing a lot more cards. Yes, we did get our land, too. Very, very good news. So, Nullpriest, yeah. Kicked. Bring back Lurrus. Cast. Tymaret. Opponent has another shot. Good grief. All right, no, decline. We're fine. We really wanted to be able to do something there, but unfortunately was not able to make that happen. This Agadeem's Awakening, very, very good here. Because for X equals 8, we can actually bring back Lurrus, a Gray Merchant. Oh, come on. Wow. All right. Well, our opponent is making it happen over there. I guess we will draw. Oh, Nighthawk. Oh, boy. Yes, please. These are very, very good Magic cards for us, folks. Because this fills the graveyard. This is very, very large. A must-answer threat, to be certain. And also adds a lot of devotion. So if one of these two cards isn't an actual board sweeper, when we go to Agadeem's Awakening, we're going to get to bring back a lot of things. Several things, I should say. And that will mean a lot of devotion. Oh my goodness. Opponent, you're going to have to get rid of the Nighthawk Scavenger as well. Alright. Oh my word. Well. X equals 5. So we're going to get a Gray Merchant, Lurrus, Nullpriest, and I think that's it. And drain for 8. Yay! We got him, folks. Good game, opponent. Good game. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are up against Sierra Man. And yeah, I think we're going to hang on to this. It's a little awkward, but I think it's fine. Oftentimes, we do like to draw the card off the Foulmire Knight's Profane Insight side, but the card is fine, especially considering we have such, you know, a robust reanimation package. Being able to keep recurring these Death Touch threats can be very good. It's also quite possible our opponent needs to use a removal spell to get rid of this because they want to attack with creatures. And whenever they have to use a removal spell against our 1-drop, I've got to feel like that is a win for us. We have drawn the land, so I'm going to put off playing the Agadeem's Awakening until potentially turn 4 or something. Because if we keep flooding out, the Agadeem's Awakening is one of the most powerful cards in our deck. If we, you know, if we need to play it as a land, then we need to play it as a land. That's just the way it is, but... All right, Ayara, the first of Locthwain. Do you have a counterspell, Sierra Man? Lofty Denial? Our opponent must have a robust flying package in their rogues build, is what I'm assuming. All right, Cunning Nightbonder, sure. That was main phase. Probably trying to make us think twice about attacking. Well, we're going to attack. I am going to go ahead and Nullpriest here because the lifelink can be very, very important in aggressive on aggressive matchups. It's also likely they don't have a 1-mana instant speed removal spell. Okay, Fairy Vandal. So yeah, this is likely to be able to get through if they want to be aggressive. If they want to remove it, that's also fine. They'll have to spend most of this turn removing it. All right, opponent gets in with Fairy Vandal. Sure. We take our 1. They don't bother pumping it. All right. We're going to attack. Opponent may be thinking about using the Cunning Nightbonder to trade, but maybe not remembering that this has Menace. The Menace, very, very strong here, folks. Soaring Thought Thief, eh? Okay. Oh, boy, and a Fairy Vandal? Oh, my word. Wow. That is not great. Not gonna lie. Yeah, that's got Menace, opponent. That doesn't work. Yeah. This is not great for us, but it's fine. The Fairy Vandals will grow relatively quickly. So I think we're actually kind of happy with this trade. Because we are going to just bolt ourselves, Lurrus, cast it right back out. So the bolt only ended up costing us 1 life there because we gained 2 from Nullpriest there. But we also got, you know, gained the ability to get rid of the Fairy Vandal, which is quite nice, in my opinion. All right, opponent gets in with Soaring Thought Thief, sure. Opponent. Carefully thinking it over. And wow, the whole team. Okay, well, we milled 2. Lose a land and a Hagra Mauling. We will not block. We take 4. Opponent passes. Well, Grey Merchant. We're doing this now because they can't use the counter a spell. Drown in Sorrow, is that the one? Where, you know, yeah, whatever it is. Kill a creature or counter a spell if there are enough cards in your graveyard or whatever. So if that was going to be the removal spell of choice, or the counter spell of choice, we wanted to do it before combat because, you know, our Nullpriest would still be around. All right, we mill over 2 more. Another Hagra Mauling and an Agadeem's Awakening. All right, Grey Merchant of Asphodel. Number 2, this will be 6. Opponent really thinking things over. Doing some math. Trying to consider how best to block. They bounce the Foulmire Knight. Do they also have a bounce spell for Nullpriest? That would be annoying, but not the end of the world. They do. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not thrilled about that, but as long as we draw a land, the Nullpriest actually gets to be kicked and bring something back, which would be nice. We're going to hold back then. It doesn't, you know, behoove us to get real aggressive there. I mean, their life total is low. That part is good. I'm not going to pretend like I'm content with where we're at, though. Our opponent's board means they can kind of go off in a heartbeat if they draw one of their real, you know, powerful card advantage engines. They also have the Rogue. They could get off the top Zarasan, where they get to put the permanents into play if their creatures go unblocked. And of course, since they have all these flyers, there's a pretty decent chance they go unblocked, right? I'm thrilled about none of those things, but oh, hey, there's a land. All right, well, let's try and draw a card first. We're actually trying to bait a counterspell is actually what we're doing here. We want to kill the Soaring Thought Thief. Okay, they don't do it. Bloodchief's Thirst. Want to cast the Brazen Borrower? Sure. All right, we're going to go ahead and get in. Yes, our opponent can double block here to kill. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. Like this, yeah. 1, and we only trade a Cunning Nightbonder. But the deal is, we secretly want our Grey Merchant to die because we can return it with Nullpriest of Oblivion. And if they don't have more interaction, we just kill them on the spot. If they do have more interaction, like we just get to keep attacking with these until they kill one, so that we can kick it right back out again, right? Opponent passes. All right, well. Nullpriest of Oblivion. Do you have a counterspell opponent? Grey Merchant. One bounce spell, not good enough, folks. They've got to bounce 2 things. Unless, of course, they bounce the Grey Merchant of Asphodel, which is not likely a winning plan here. They could have a kill spell and kill the Grey Merchant. Now, and that would save them for the time being. They would drop to 1. We would attack with the Foulmire Knight. They would have to block, and, you know, we would trade. All right, looks like we're going to get him. Yep, indeed. Good game, Sierman. Good game. All right, folks, we're back here looking at Devoted Zendikar, and honestly, the deck was great. I actually played 5 games for the video and won all of them. We ended up having to edit the other one out because our opponent scooped so fast, it wasn't really a game of Magic. We were, so, we went undefeated. I don't think this deck is that good, so please understand, I'm not trying to give off a false impression. I could keep playing and until we lose and maybe cut out a winning game, but I don't, I'm not trying to be disingenuous in any way. But again, we played 5 games and won all 5, so I don't know what all to say about that. I do really think this deck was a lot of fun to play. Admittedly, I have a little bit of a weakness for graveyard play. I think we might want maybe even another Agadeem's Awakening. The card is very, very strong in this list. Being able to bring back like a 2 and a 3 with regularity when we cast it for 6 is stupidly strong. But as you saw in the one game, we cast it for 8 and brought back a 5, a 3, and a 2, which was crazy good. Admittedly, this is not our primary game plan, so yes, if we were, trying to abuse Agadeem's Awakening, having some 4-drops and some 1-drops would be very, very good to just have the blowouts with Agadeem's Awakening, but that isn't really why we built this deck. We built this deck to, for devotion-y things, Ayaras and Gray Merchants and things. But the fact that we can Malakir back a Gray Merchant to get another trigger, potentially even after sacrificing it ourselves to either Ayara or Erebos and things, I think there is definitely some play here. I'm still a little not sure about the Nighthawk Scavenger. I think it's such a powerful card in Standard in the abstract that it's here and it may have earned its spot, but it's also quite possible this might just be better off as some other 1-drop or maybe even a 4-drop just for curve considerations and things, because it doesn't actively fit all of the other things going on in the deck. It is also relevant that I feel like the Skyclave Shade performed very, very well. It's possible we want all 4 Skyclave Shade and not these 2 Nighthawk Scavengers. My concern was just that it might not be as good in practice as it looked on paper. I think the opposite was true. It actually maybe even performed a little better than I had initially planned for it. So that might be a change that gets made too. Another thing I brought up was that Tymaret is a relatively good card here in the meta, being able to eat up both your own graveyard if your opponent's on rogues, but also your opponent's graveyard if they have graveyard synergies of their own, as well as adding devotion for the Gray Merchants and things like that. So it's possible we would like maybe even another Tymaret. It is legendary, that's hard, but either way, I had a great time playing the deck, and this is one I'm actually kind of looking forward to playing on the stream. So I will see you all then. Speaking of which, we do have a stream. Johnlikesgames/Twitch TV. Please tune in there. If you do have comments and concerns about the deck and maybe ways you might change it and make it better, please let me know down below in the comments and stuff. I guess I'll look forward to seeing you next time we jam some more jank.